Tucson taxpayers are responsible for much of the funding for public transit. Although many don't take advantage of these resources, there are others that rely on the buses, vans, and eventually the streetcar to get around and perform their everyday duties. So if you're planning on sharing the road, make sure to buckle up your helmet. For Arizona Cat's Eye, I'm Victoria Rosenblum. Members of the Tucson Community Garden are spending money to be able to grow their own food here, but that is not the only benefit they get from being a member. There are 40,000 stray cats and dogs in Pima County, and because people aren't spading and neutering their animals, we're ending up with litters full of these little girls. Suntran and Sunvan has a fleet of 243 buses. The system has more than 2,200 bus stops. But who is paying for all of this? Suntran and Sunvan Director of Marketing Michelle Joseph explains where the funding comes from.
We receive about 48% of our funds directly from the City of Tucson General Fund. We also have some funds that come to us through the Regional Transportation Authority, the half-cent sales tax that was passed by voters.
Mayor Jonathan Rothschild says Tucson public transit is cost-effective for taxpayers. People must think of those who rely on the service.
The issue with public transit is this. There isn't a city in the United States where the public transit pays for itself. In this city, for instance, we spend about $40 million of our general fund on transit. So the question is that cost effective? And you have to consider what transit does for people. Tucson taxpayers are responsible for much of the funding for public transit. Although many don't take advantage of these resources, there are others that rely on the buses, vans, and eventually the streetcar to get around and perform their everyday duties.
The buses are really, really important to me. They're really important because I have to get from point A to point B every day, early in the morning, sometimes way late in the evening. So if they're not running, my life's falling apart.
With an average of almost 75,000 passenger trips per weekday, people from all over the city hop on the buses.
Most of the express buses that we use in the morning are all business people, whereas the regular street buses, it's the everyday person. And so you get from Bozo the Clown to university professors.
For Arizona Cat's Eye, I'm Victoria Rosenblum. The summer sun is putting animals in heat. They are reproducing fast, and their litters are overpopulating Tucson shelters.
Every summer, it's true of shelters across the country, but especially here, we get bombarded with unwanted and abandoned litters. We get, this time of year, puppies and kittens coming through our doors almost on a daily basis. There are 40,000 stray cats and dogs in Pima County, and because people aren't spading and neutering their animals, we're ending up with litters full of these little girls.
We take in around 10,000 spays and neuters every year, which is great because that means that we're cutting down on animal overpopulation by a lot.
I think you're good.
Spays and neuters take place in the clinic, where veterinarians like Kelly Barrett also do routine health checks. And in some cases, euthanize animals that do not qualify as adoptable pets. These include
extremely elderly, the geriatric ones, or the really, really severe temperament problems. We do whatever we can to place them in homes, so our euthanasia rate is really low.
In 2006, the Humane Society of Southern Arizona euthanized 4,724 animals, or 37% of those brought in. Some of those animals were euthanized because of lack of space. Since then, the shelter has changed their policy and will no longer put an animal down for that reason. For Arizona Cat's Eye, I'm Victoria Rosenblum.